Matt, thank you for joining us. A little bit of history today. It's Versant's first ever sports media rights deal announced today, renewing with USGA. Tell us a little bit about the deal, and does it differ at all in terms of coverage from what the old deal was? Because this is sort of a renewal in the sense that golf is coming to both Peacock and the cable networks that used to be NBC Universal and now will be a part of Versant.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for having me. It's a great deal that we got a chance to announce today. 6 more years with the USGA. We get to continue to partner with our colleagues at NBC Sports. But a big deal for us with Versant, the new company that we're in the process of setting up, for USA Network and for Golf Channel. So we'll continue to have Thursday, Friday coverage on USA, of the US Open as well as the US Women's Open. We'll have early round coverage for Saturday and Sunday as well, or early hour coverage for Saturday and Sunday as well. And then obviously Golf Channel will continue to do what it does as the sort of de facto network for golf and golf fans, not only for US Opens, but for all 11 USGA championships Golf Channel will continue to cover and air live coverage of. So an exciting new deal for us as we set up the new company in Versant.
Why was this deal so important to Versant?
I mean, it's an incumbent partnership with the USGA, a partner that we've had a long-standing relationship with, particularly for Golf Channel. We've had USGA events on Golf Channel ever since the inception of Golf Channel 30 years ago. And you always want to keep your incumbent partners, but it's got to work for them and it's got to work for us. In this case, we were happy that it did. And then, as we set up Versant to be a standalone public company, I think this was a great signal to the marketplace, a great signal to our own colleagues here at Versant that we're going to continue to be active and on the front foot with sports media rights.
We've seen a couple of big sports media rights deals just recently with Paramount and UFC and ESPN and WWE. Both of those deals were structured around their kind of signature streaming services, where all of the events will go to streaming, and then it will be up to the media companies to decide what they want to simulcast on linear networks. Versant is structured differently. We have I say because CNBC will be part of it. There will be many different cable networks, but no incumbent streaming service. This deal was done in conjunction with Peacock. How do you plan to navigate that? Do you see not having a streaming service as a weakness or a strength?
Yeah, so obviously, as you note, Peacock is staying with NBC Universal. We still believe very much in the strength and the reach of the linear networks that we have for the sports division, but also obviously for all of Versant, inclusive of CNBC. We're also not blind to the reality of the way in which sports fans consume media. So even though this deal is principally or exclusively linear, we will also have streams that you're able to see on golfchannel.com starting early next year, and then probably more to talk about vis-a-vis streaming in the next couple years.
Do you foresee using Peacock as a partner moving forward with these incumbent deals as they come up for renewal beyond this one?
Yeah, so all other things being equal, we'd like to continue to work with and partner with NBCU and Peacock going forward. I think one of the unique things about being separate public companies here soon is we'll be able to potentially partner with Peacock, but we'll also be able to partner with other third-party streamers, in situations where a set of rights may or may not work for Peacock, but we want them at Versant. We'll have the freedom to partner with some streamers that previously we didn't necessarily have the freedom to partner with.
What is the Versant sports strategy?
I would say it's a couple things. I mean, one is we will continue to be active for top shelf, top tier sports programming like the one, with the USGA, or like the set of rights with the USGA that we announced today. That's our current core business, and we'll continue to invest in our core business. But we'll also invest in growth of our digital properties, so organic growth of digital properties like the ones we have in golf with Golf Now and Golf Pass. And then I think we also have to be assertive about investing inorganically and doing M&A with businesses that are synergistic to our linear properties.
Can you give us any detail on what that might be?
I mean, I think it's if you look at our golf vertical, we've got a lot of top-tier golf programming, whether it's PGA Tour, the USGA, the R&A, LPGA. And then we've got these adjacent golf businesses like Golf Now,
which is like a tee time reservation.
So Golf
business,
Now
right?
is the sort of predominant way to book tee times. And Golf Pass is an all-inclusive companion product for golfers, which includes the ability to book tee times. It's got content. It's got travel perks and things like that. And so those businesses are wonderfully synergistic to the programming that we have on our linear television networks, both Golf Channel and USA. And so it's those types of digital businesses which we can grow using the reach of our linear properties that we'll look to find more of.
You mentioned competing for top-tier sports assets. That's been doable as part of NBC Universal, big balance sheet. NBC Universal, of course, just acquired NBA rights. Are you concerned that as a smaller company, it will be more difficult to compete against the big giants in the room for those top-tier rights?
I mean, if you look at the rights that we currently have just at Versant, so across USA Network and Golf Channel, we have a wide variety of top-tier programming that crosses almost every geography and every demo that we could possibly want. We've got NASCAR, we've got the PGA Tour, we've got the USGA, we've got the R&A, we've got WNBA and WWE. So,
but we leaned on NBC to get those rights.
But going forward, those will be Versant properties, separate from NBCU, and were we to renew those properties, we'll do so as Versant. So we have programming that I think is competitive with most networks out there. I like what we have, and we'll continue to be competitive going forward.
Is there a need for broader scale, either through investing in more rights beyond the current portfolio or potentially merging with an entity that has sports rights?
I don't know that we will merge with an entity that has sports rights, only because we have plenty of programming to help drive our linear business, and I think the future will be inorganic acquisitions which help diversify our revenue streams. And so it'll really be continue to invest in our core linear business and then looking for inorganic opportunities that complement that linear business.
What gives you confidence that Versant will succeed as a publicly traded company? Because look, let me lay out the devil's advocate point of view, which is that this collection of assets is a set of declining linear TV assets that the market has already weighed in on as an anchor on publicly traded companies. So if you spin this thing off, and there's a hodgepodge of digital assets that go with it, to be fair, why would an investor be excited about putting their money in this company?
I mean, I think we have a strong business. We have $7 billion in annual revenue and healthy free cash flow. I also think that the reason why people tune into linear television are assets like exist at CNBC. We've got strong news assets, and we've got strong sports assets that I'm particularly partial to. And I think that provides us with a runway to look at how we can evolve this business through inorganic growth. And I think that'll be a focus for our company. For us in the sports division, that'll be a focus. And I think for our entire company, that will be a focus going forward.
Since we don't exactly know what that inorganic growth is at this point, some things potentially that Versant can do organically, do you foresee sports bleeding onto other cable networks that perhaps NBC hasn't done? So obviously there's Golf Channel that's part of Versant. There's some sports on USA, but CNBC is potentially a home for them. There are several other cable networks. Is that a possibility?
We already see sports on CNBC, as we were talking off camera about. That will continue to be a strategy. And I think the other thing we talked about is there's a lot of synergy between some of the networks, or many of the networks that we have at Versant, probably most notably Golf Channel and CNBC. So I think there's opportunities to do all sorts of programming back and forth between the networks because there is such demographic and psychographic crossover between them.
Let's talk about some aspirational properties. Major League Baseball rights come up in 2028. Is that something you have your eye on?
We'll look at almost everything that comes to market, and we'll look at it through the lens of, does it help drive our core business, or it's something that can help grow our company going forward. So we'll take a look at most every property that comes on the market.
What about some emerging sports? Do you have your eye on particular smaller sports that you could add to the portfolio?
I mean, we are already employing a bit of a women's strategy, women's sports strategy.
NWSL.
On USA. We've got LPGA on Golf Channel. We've got WNBA coming to USA. So, those challenger sports we will definitely look at, and we have a sort of nascent women's sports property strategy that we're employing.
Will the Olympics coverage change at all now that Versant exists as a separately traded company?
So, the pledge that leadership at Versant as well as NBC Sports made is that from a viewer's standpoint, where you watched properties like the Olympics or NASCAR a year before the spin is where you'll continue to watch them a year after the spin. So there will still be Olympics programming that is managed by our colleagues at NBC Sports that does show up on USA and does show up on CNBC, just like there will be NASCAR programming that is managed by our team here at Versant that will air on NBC, the NBC over-the-air network going forward. Where you watched things before is where you'll continue to see them or watch them going forward.
What makes you excited about the job?
I mean, I think it's this wonderful inflection point where we've got this strong core business, but that we know there are challenges too. And so it's sort of our opportunity to control our own destiny, figure out how we're going to grow this business and evolve this business. We get to sort of pick our team of people that join Versant as, at the beginning here. We're very well funded. We've got healthy revenue, a strong balance sheet, a lot of free cash flow. So it's really a unique opportunity, in the history of a linear television company, this inflection point to figure out, how we're going to grow this company and how to control our own destiny going forward.
Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.